So you've been getting faster, more consistent, and you want to improve on ACC, and the very first thing to do with any kind of setups is to monitor your tyre pressures. Tyre pressures are important. It's the difference between having grip and having a little less grip. And tyre pressure isn't just as easy as setting it to a setting and that's it, it's good to go. Tyre pressure is the pressure inside your tyres, and pressure changes as temperature changes. Higher temperatures means air expands and generates more pressure in the tyres. This changes the shape of the tyre and all that kind of stuff. So what we need to do is we need to run a few laps to get a baseline for our tyre temperature, which gives us our hot tyre pressure, and then we can adjust that to be in the window. In ACC, the optimum tyre pressure is between 26 and 27 psi. So we're going to load the default setup on the McLaren and we're going to go out the pits. So exiting the pits with a fresh set of tyres. We're going to run 4 laps to get a ballpark kind of stable tyre temperature. Normally after 4 laps the tyre heat seems to have stabilised, and therefore the tyre pressure to get the hot tyre pressure will have stabilised as well. So run 4 laps with your normal driving. Try not to slide the car overly aggressively. Try not to overdrive the car, just to get you in the ballpark window for tyre temperatures. Now remember, your very first lap, maybe even your second lap on the tyres will be less grip than you would normally have. Your tyres will start cooler than optimum, so your pressure in your tyres will be below what optimum is for at least the first lap, perhaps the first lap and a half, maybe 2 laps. So definitely pay attention to that on race starts and at the start of any qualifying or time trial session. So lap 1 on these tyres is complete. We've gained about 1 psi of tyre pressure, but we're going to continue until we've done 4 laps on these tyres. Lap number 2 on the tyres complete, and we're not quite there for many of the tyres. The rear left seems okay. We're a little bit under temperature still on the remaining tyres. Lap number 3, we've probably stabilised on tyre temperature. We're going to do 1 more just to make sure. Now coming to complete the 4th lap, what we're going to do now, we're going to pause the game and go back to the garage. So I'm going to move off the racing line. Somewhere down the straight is a good place to pause it. Hit the options menu just to pause it. And in single player you can do that straight away. The car's moving, no problem at all. If you're playing in a multiplayer session, move off the line and slow the car down gently, and then once the car's stopped, then you can pause it, and then you want to choose return to garage and then confirm that. That's going to take you back to the garage, and then go straight away over to setup and then choose into current setup, and on screen right now is going to be displayed your current hot PSI for all 4 tyres. So looking on the screen now, the left front 26 psi, right front 25.6 psi, right rear 25.8 psi, and the left rear 26.2 psi. So they're all a little bit under. So what we'll do now, we will go down to the each of the ones and just up the cold PSI by the amount we want to raise the hot PSI. It's roughly similar, so we want to get into the mid 26s just to give us a bit of space either side. So we're going to add 0.5 to the PSI on the front tyre, hit circle to come out, and then we're going to come across to right front, hit X to go into it, and we want to add probably 0.9 to that one, so that's going to be all the way up to 25.3. Circle to go back. Now you can go down to the rear, so we'll probably want to add 0.7 to the rear. About that's fine. It doesn't need to be exact, and you should always keep going back and rechecking your tyre pressures, because as you get more grip you can then drive the car harder, which then heats the tyres more. It's a constant cycle of adjusting the tyre pressures to get them where you want to be. And then finally the left rear, that is almost in the window, so we're only going to add a couple of psi to that one, mainly because we exit the straight on a right-hander, so it loads that left rear tyre. So it's always important to keep a checkpoint of where you're taking your tyre pressure readings from, and maybe keep an eye on it throughout the lap. So all we need to do now, we need to back out of here, and that's going to save that current setup, and then we repeat the process again. Click on continue. Our cold tyre pressures are now set to what they were, and we're going to go run some laps to see if we can get those tyres in the window to where they want to be. So lap number 1 complete on the tyres, and we're already just about into the window of optimum operating range. So 2 laps, we're almost into the middle of the 26s, which is absolutely perfect. Lap 3, still looking good on tyre pressures, perhaps 0.1 under where we need to be, just to be in the middle of safeness. Now guys, don't get too hung up on the exact points differences of tyre pressures. As long as you're in the window of 26 to 27 psi, then you're good to go. I would always set your tyre pressures first, get into that window of optimum operation, and then start working on other setup areas of the car. And also you should go back and recheck your tyre pressures. Always keep an eye on your tyre pressures as you're running through setup changes to make sure they still stay within that operating window. And then after the 4th lap, we're about to cross the line. We're going to stop at exactly the same moment in time. If you're playing in an online lobby, just pull off the racing line, slow down reasonably slowly. You don't want to really put the heat into the tyres on your slowdown. Pause it, return to garage, confirm, and then go to setup. And then we'll look at current setup, and this is going to give you your hot PSI tyre pressures again. So 26.5, 26.3, 26.2, 26.4. We could go a little higher on the right side of the car, but again, as I said before, that's because the final corner we're doing is a right-hander. It's loading the left-hand tyres a lot more. A few other things to point out with tyre temperatures is you have inside, middle and outside tyre temperatures and tyre wear. So here we've got inside, middle and outside 81, 75, 68, and the tyre wear is pretty even across all the tyres. Another important thing to mention is if we hop over to fuel and strategy and down to tyre sets, this represents physical tyre sets you put on the car. So we went out with tyre set 1, and you can see the tyre wear on these ones. Set number 2 we've already used a little bit, and set number 3 is brand new right up to set number 40 something. So as you progress through your sessions, you want to keep using new tyres when you need to. So tyre wear is a measurement in millimeters. It's basically the tread depth, the usable carcass of the tyre, and I think when you get anywhere below 1.5, that's considered completely worn. In fact, if we look in the electronics section, it gives us an indication of tyre wear, and we can see in here the green 3mm brackets new, and the red 1.5mm brackets consumed. So we want to be in the 3mm to 1.5 window. New tyres is always best. So that's going to get you covered for most situations during the day, but at night, 3 AM in the morning, for example, this week's daily time trial hot stint session is only 10 degrees track temperature. So I want to show you how much you can suffer with a default setup. We're going to use the safe default setup. I'm not going to change the tyre pressures, use completely stock, and then we're going to hit drive. So we've got 24.4 psi tyre pressures, and we're going to go and run some laps. If you want to join in with the future of next generation ACC on console time trialing, then check out the links in the description below. You can join in with these time trials, you can register on our server, and even if the server is full, you can still get access to come and time trial. This is a 4-slot server, and there are already 6 people in this server. If you're registered, the maximum limit does not count. You can do whatever you want. You can join whenever and join in. So tyre pressures wise, in this one we're actually losing pressure. The track temperature and the ambient temperature is so cold that we can't get enough heat into the tyre to get the tyre pressures where we want them to be. So one lap's complete and we've not really positively affected our tyre pressures. In fact, the guy's telling us we've got low tyre pressure. We've got to be concerned about this one. And again, still unable to positively affect the tyre pressures. And then we're back to the pits, head over to setup again, view current setup, and we can see the hot tyre pressures again, and we can see that we've not really raised the tyre pressures much more than what we actually first set them to. So 24.5, 24.3, 24.4, 24.5. Not a great deal of change. So what we can do is we can set the pressures to exactly what we actually want them to be. We basically need to add 2 psi to all of these settings, all of the tyre pressures. And 2 to the rear, and then 2 more to this one here. So that is now our cold tyre pressures. We can now go out, retest, and see if the tyres stay in their window of operation. So after a couple of laps, we can see the tyre pressures have stayed in the 2060s. So with this low ambient and track temperature, we can raise the tyre pressures to make sure that the hot tyre pressure stays where it needs to be. I think this is going to cover everything for tyre pressures for now, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content to help you get faster in ACC. Also, make sure you check out in the description below. There'll be plenty of information for you to get started in ACC. I'm really excited for the future of ACC on PS5, guys. We're running these hot lap time trial sessions. We're going to run daily racing servers with weekly rotation, leaderboards, stats, all that cool stuff. Make sure you check out the description below for more information on how to join this. Also on screen, guys, will be linked to RA Shadow's YouTube channel. Make sure you go over there, make sure you're subscribed. This is a joint venture between us and we're going to be doing fantastic stuff. Shadow's going to be covering some of these events live on stream, so make sure you go over there, make sure you're subscribed to him, and we'll catch you in the next one.